friend. As you can see here, I'm joined by my pup. I've tried to record this video once already, but we had a bit of a meltdown, so we're going to try it again. Anyway, I recently wrote a blog post on mindful travel, and I did this because I had plans last weekend to go to Chicago to see my cousin, to see fish. It was awesome. But I realized that I am out of practice with this whole traveling thing. And I was having a little bit of anxiety about the whole experience of getting to the airport and flying and these things that used to be so routine for me. Well, I'm just out of practice. So I decided to tap into some of the things that I've learned along the way to put together this blog post. And in the post itself, there are 10 tips. In this video, I'm going to share only 5 because I like to keep these short and be respectful of your time. So, before I share the tips, let me just say this. Traveling is exciting, at least for me. I love getting to the place, exploring the place, etc. Air travel, unless you're a billionaire, can be really unpleasant. So I know we typically say it's the journey, not the destination, but when it comes to air travel, I don't believe that that's actually true. So anyway, the 5 tips from my top 10 list that I'd like to share start now. Number 1, checklists. I would be lost without my traveling checklists. As someone who has a short attention span, as someone who is kind of chronically disorganized and disheveled, having checklists keeps me on track. And I have all sorts of checklists that I've copied and pasted and modified for different situations. If you contact me, you can use the form on my website. I would be happy to send you one of my checklists. Tell me a little bit about your trip and what you're doing, and I will send you the one that aligns most closely. So that's number 1. Number 2, meditate. This wouldn't be a video about mindful travel if I didn't mention something about meditation, but keep in mind that airports can be really overstimulating places. And so even if you have an early flight, just to meditate for 1 or 2 minutes beforehand can make a world of difference. And I do actually have in the post a link to a meditation specific for flight anxiety. So if guided meditation is your thing, have a listen to that. Number 3, drink your water. Air travel can be extremely dehydrating, so it's important not to just drink water on the plane and at the airport, but in the days leading up to the trip and the days after you get home. You really want to replenish. Number 3, and this is a message to myself, pack efficiently. Do not bring too much shit. I have been so guilty of this. I'll bring all these clothes, all these shoes, and then I'll end up wearing like the same 2 or 3 things like I do at home. So I like to find an anchor item. Like my trip to Chicago, it was going to rain all weekend, so I brought a big heavy sweater and my sparkly rain boots. And everything else I packed had to go with those items. And that worked out really, really well. So those are things I wore on the plane because they weren't going to fit in my suitcase. Number 5, and probably the most important thing, is when traveling by air, let go. There's going to be so much that is outside of your control. And the more you try to control the situation, the less control you're going to feel like you have. So I can tell you from years and years of experience as a road warrior and as someone who just generally enjoys travel, flights will be delayed and canceled. Connections will be missed. The seats will be incredibly small and uncomfortable. I'm 5'2" and I'm uncomfortable. I can't imagine for tall people, and I'm just way too cheap to upgrade myself to first class in most situations. Babies will cry. I think it's actually worse for the parent of the crying baby, though. Some of them will get under my skin. People will just generally be assholes. Like, this goes for the patrons as well as, some of the people working. So take a deep breath, let go of what you can't control, which is most of it. Sit back, relax, and enjoy the flight. So what are your tips? What would you add to that? And you can read the blog post for more. There are 5 more tips in the blog post. That is all I have for you today. Thank you so much for listening. Subscribe or go to Jen Jortner Cassidy. I don't even know my own website. What the hell? JenJortnerCassidy.com for more supportive tips and practices.